Welcome to Vietnam.
We're in Hanoi, we're here for 4 days, got lots planned, let's see.
As we've said many times, the best way to get a feel for a city is just to have a walk around. We've often done this on our own little tours ourselves. We did the heritage tour in Georgetown, but today we thought we'd give a proper touristy walking tour a go, which starts out at the Lake of the Returned Sword here in Hanoi, or should I say Phang Long, as we found out it was originally known in 1010, becoming the capital of Vietnam until 1802, until it was moved back to Hue by the Nguyen dynasty, but we'll cover that when we head off to Hue in a couple of stops' time. The city was renamed Hanoi in 1831, meaning rebirth, and then finally re-established as the capital of North Vietnam following the French withdrawal in 1954. Then becoming the capital of a reunited post-war Vietnam in 1976. Vietnam is steeped in its own history and how it was shaped by colonialisation. We'll cover much more of that later when we visit Hoa Lo Prison. But let's start our walk with a quick story of how Sword Lake got its name.
In the 15th century, my country is occupied by the Chinese. And there was a leader who led a resistance movement against the Chinese. And according to a legend, he had a magical sword. He found a magical sword. And with this sword, the leader led the Vietnamese troops to the victory over the Chinese.
Obviously, I don't want to give away the whole story. You'll have to come and join the tour yourself to really find out. And if you want to do that, there's a link in the description below. Click that. Doesn't cost you any extra money, but it does really help us out. Right next to Sword Lake at the edge of Old Town is an amazing temple. This is where we first learned that Vietnamese don't really celebrate gods as such as we know them in temples, but they worship and pray to their ancestors, which is why you'll see altar and gifts in all households and businesses, leaving offerings to be blessed by your ancestors that you can consume later. The walking tour is centred around the core belief of Vietnam of the 5 elements: wood, water, fire, metal and earth, with each stop and a bit of history linking back to each one. Like the red bridge we saw at the lake earlier, being made from wood, representing growth, painted red for fire, representing passion, courage and vitality. It really brought the tour to life, linking it to the history and the beliefs of the locals within the city, really getting to see what goes on our first day here. Next stop is the famous Flower Cafe, but we did have to navigate this extremely tight alley littered with mopeds, which you'll quickly get used to in Hanoi, as they are everywhere, making all road crossings a complete adventure. Our next stop was Beer Street, which apparently on the tour represents water. I would tend to think it represents a lack of water in these parts. But we'll show you what it looks like later so you can really get a difference for how this place comes alive at night. But in the meantime, you'll notice there's lots of flags on display. These are from a national holiday a couple of months prior to us making this video. But apparently they're quite excited to put them up, and then they tend to only come down when they start falling and making a mess, but they will be left until then. Later at night, you'll see loads of drinkers on the street. Our guide informed us that actually they're not legally allowed to do this, but the bars will pay money to the police that provides a level of flexibility, shall we say, where they can allow tourists and locals alike to enjoy a beer on the streets. Just as we pass the outdoor barber shop, you'll see the French bridge in the background. Nowadays, this only allows mopeds. You'll notice as we get closer shortly that they're all on the left-hand side of the road. That is not normal here, they normally drive on the right. Now, the reason they drive on the left is this bridge was originally built to take cargo to and from the ports. The full lorries going towards the port had to drive on the left because it was the stronger side of the bridge. And now, despite the fact it is just mopeds on that today, they've kept them driving on the left-hand side as the only road in Vietnam to do so. Right next to the French bridge is Hanoi Train Station, which, as you can see, people just go for a walk down the tracks here and create this amazing photo op, which apparently today is being used for some form of fashion shoot. See if we get spotted in any Vietnamese fashion magazines. However, this won't be our only stroll down the train lines in this video. If you stick around to the end, you'll see the best place to explore in Hanoi, which every traveller knows is a must-do. Wrapping up our transport adventures, we headed off to the wholesale markets. First starting off with some food stops, with lots of ingredients I've never really heard of and certainly not seen before. From sea worms that are used to make Vietnamese soups and broths to crispy pig skin. It's a real eye-opener and explains why the food over here is so tasty and interesting. But you'll get much more of that in our Hanoi food video coming shortly, where I really start my love affair with Vietnamese food. But before we got to eat any of that food, we made a stop next door at the clothes and materials market. If you want to find branded clothing with negotiable prices, this is absolutely the place to come. Well, it is if you can haggle better than Lisa and I can. But once we got to the market, we came out onto this beautiful balcony overlooking this street. Again, we were informed that the vendors aren't really allowed to sell stuff on the street, but with a helpful bribe to the local police, you'll be able to sell whatever you want, completely unimpeded. As we finish our tour back in Old Town. Here at the original city gates. So Hanoi used to be much, much smaller. It was just Old Town to begin with, but it's obviously expanded to be far wider over the centuries. Our guide did explain to us that the city walls is the perfect place to finish because it is represented by all 5 elements. I can't remember what those were and how it was represented, but that doesn't take anything away from this tour. It was really enjoyable, a great way to see the city. It's handy having a local show you that you can just walk across the road and you will make it to the other side, even if it doesn't seem like so at first. Quick visit to Hoa Lo Prison. It's only 50,000 dong to get in each, but 100,000 for the audio guide and each. Yes, each. So basically for 2 people it's going to cost you 300,000, which is just under a tenner, something like that. So, but if it's good, which we'll tell you at the end, obviously it'll be good if Steve Buscemi's also doing this one as well as the one in Philadelphia, but we'll see. As I just mentioned, this is a very inexpensive way to spend a couple of hours. You'll start off learning that the prison was built by the French in 1896 to house political prisoners who tried to resist the French rule before being used by the Vietnamese to house American prisoners of war, including one quite famous name that will come up later on. As with many of these tours, you'll start off with a brief history of the building, how it's established, and what the French colonisers were trying to do, and how they managed locking up the Vietnamese dissidents. As always, I'd highly recommend the audio tour. It saves you a lot of reading, and there's plenty of spots to sit, listen, take in your surroundings. It's a really well planned out tour, and the audio book just goes along with it perfectly. The tour proper starts with the plans and constructions, and then as you walk through/past this colossal prison door, you start to see how the prisoners were looked after, or maybe not, as the case may be. Then we get our first glimpse of how the Vietnamese like to have a slightly more graphic and real display in these museums to try and bring them to life. It does really help show you what it was like at the time, but they haven't really got their head around censorship, and sometimes out of nowhere you'll stumble into slightly more graphic scenes. But more on that later. Once you've seen the conditions, you'll really think that people might have wanted to escape. And that's when we step outside and see these sewage pipes, which apparently were used in one of the many escape attempts from Hoa Lo Prison over the years. We'll see more on those guys later, but first we enter the women's block and get a view of their living conditions and the work they did while incarcerated. Unsurprisingly, the treatment of women was absolutely no better then. They were shackled together all day, with 300 women sharing a single communal bathing area. Walking around these cells was a real eye-opener into what it must have been life back in the day. And then, just as you think, peak of the immersion within the museum, we enter what could be only described as the most graphic part of the tour. Torture and punishment. Now, we're not going to show you all the videos from this bit, because they are quite graphic, and we'll let you make your own choice if you want to go and see them and have a look. It includes photos of beheaded people next to guillotines, and a myriad of other things with quite explicit how-to photos on how the prisoners were tortured. This is a real warning though if you're bringing kids to this prison and other exhibitions in Vietnam, because they are quite open in the way prisoners were treated, and it comes with no warning signs or censorship, or certainly not in English anyway. So always be wary on edge whenever you're in here. You could walk round a corner and see a picture of a beheaded man. Don't worry, the risk of any graphic images is now over. As we step through the quick exhibition on the Vietnamese War into this beautiful memorial for all the lives lost over the years. We actually skip a couple of decades as we move through here, and now this is how the Vietnamese used the prison post-French invasion to house American POWs during the Vietnamese War. The most famous of which being John McCain. You get to learn the story of how his plane was shot down, how he was captured, and then his time in Hoa Lo Prison. There is a running theme of this part of the prison. It's clear in the messaging that the Vietnamese are much nicer in their running of the prison than when the shoe was on the other foot and it was the French keeping the Vietnamese here. Now, I don't want to downplay any of these horrific acts the Vietnamese people have suffered, but some of these exhibitions seem slightly one-sided, and they'll highlight all of the terrible behaviour of their colonial invaders and the Americans during the war, and rightly so, but they quite often make themselves out to be whiter than white in how they treated prisoners, and personally I took that with a bit of a pinch of salt. Don't want to gloss over that, and I think it's worth mentioning, and it's pretty obvious as you're going through it. But that all being said, these are still well worth visiting, and it really does tell the story of the Vietnamese history and brings these parts of time to life. As I mentioned earlier, when we showed you those sewer pipes that people escaped through, there was many prison attempts, both successful and unsuccessful here from Hoa Lo Prison. Many of them doing their best Andy Dufresne impression, climbing through sewers, some just jumping over walls. But this is a great way to finish. Read the stories of some real heroes, some political activists who stood up to the French rule, and then ultimately, with the help of friends and family on the outside, managed to make a break for it. And who doesn't love a prison break story? I'll let us from the past give you a final little view of what we really thought of the prison.
That was really good.
Yeah, amazing. So like the price, absolute steal. Thought it was just going to be about sort of history of the prison, but there's way more, as you've seen on the video.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. So interesting.
And like going through the different like periods and stuff, you know, with like the French in charge and then the Vietnamese in charge and American prisoners of war. Like, it was really well done.
Amazing. Well worth a visit when you're in Hanoi. Definitely check it out.
Yeah.
But that was 2 hours. We missed lunchtime, so
I'm starving.
time to find some food. We don't want to give the impression that Hanoi is all touristy walks and military museums. There is so much more to the city than that. And we're going to be documenting the food scene here in a different video that's up on the channel, as well as the rest of our time across Vietnam. But it would be amiss to not mention the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum. Now, we don't have any footage from here because you're not allowed to film inside, and we don't want to be disrespectful, so we left our cameras back in the hotel. This might be the most unique memorial we've ever been to. It really shows how revered Ho Chi Minh is in this part of the world. 60 years on, he's still loved and celebrated for returning Vietnam to the people and reunifying the nation. It is really surreal to see any country hold a politician with this level of regard. But be warned, it is still quite a surreal experience. You get to walk around the mausoleum and see an embalmed Ho Chi Minh. But let's get back to some more relaxing, typical traveller bucket list activity. This is definitely our highlight and favourite stop we did in Hanoi.
We've made it to Train Street.
So for those where you're not sure how if it's going to be easy to find, it's unbelievably easy to find. Level crossing.
And people just bring you in.
Thank you very much. Someone came and brought us to their cafe. So sit here. We've got a train coming in about 10 minutes or so.
20 minutes, yeah.
So yeah.
Just sit here, take it all in. It's not too busy. I thought it was going to be busier, but
Well, Saturday we thought it was going to be rammed, but maybe this is the right time to come, so we got quite lucky. But yeah, let's see if it's worth the 40-minute walk to get here. We've been ushered over to the other side of Train Street now, and apparently we get a really good view from here of around the corner. So I think we turned up sort of 20 minutes, 25 minutes before the train was, and also got a coffee, got some food. So then, I think if you get here early, you're going to get the best spot. Right, just heard the horn, so hopefully it's coming.
I'll be honest, mildly terrifying.
Yeah, it was really close, but really fun.